Well, I bet you I know why you're here, because you are thinking about moving to Camas, Washington. Well, in today's video, we are going to dig in and talk about everything Camas related so that you know everything you need to know before you make that move. Are you ready to do this? Well, let's get started. If this is your first time to my channel, let me tell you, we talk about everything when it comes to living, breathing, eating, sleeping in Southwest Washington, Clark County, Vancouver area. So please click the button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel or ding the bell, because then you will not miss out on any of the great content that I have coming up here about the Vancouver area. My name is Cassandra Marks, also known as Realtor Cass. I am a farmer with a wee little real estate problem, and I'm so glad that you stopped by today, and I can't wait to tell you all about Camas, Washington. I get calls, texts, emails every single day from people just like you who are looking at moving into neighborhoods like Camas in Southwest Washington. And I absolutely love what I do. So I want to share everything that I know about places like Camas and the rest of Southwest Washington so that you can have an enjoyable time when you move here as well. As we talked about in the beginning of this video, we are definitely going to just dig right into Camas and talk about all things like neighborhoods, activities, parks, schools, some of the new build that's going on, and so much more. If there are any areas in this video that I don't touch on that you want to know more about, please feel free to drop a comment below or reach out to me directly. All of my contact information is down below in the description, so feel free to email or call or text me, and I'd love to make sure that you get all the information that you need before you make your decision to move to Camas, Washington. Well, now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's get started and move right over to the map on my desktop and start talking about everything Camas.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my desktop. And we are going to go a little bit more in depth about Camas today. So as you can see, Camas is over here. It is 14 miles down Highway 14 to get to Camas from downtown Vancouver. Camas has been around for quite a long time and has a population. The 2021-2020 census was, it said it was about 27,000 people, and it's about 16.25 square miles in size. So as we zoom in, you go down 14 here, which is the Lewis and Clark Highway. And the first place you're going to want to go is to downtown. And downtown Camas is absolutely adorable. So you go down here, you get off on 6th Avenue, and you come down this road, and there you go. We're going to hit downtown Camas. So one thing that is in downtown Camas that you'll see right away is the Georgia Pacific Paper Mill. And the Georgia Pacific Paper Mill is located right in this area here. And it has been there since 1883. And it is a huge employer over the years of people that have lived in Camas. At one point, they employed 1,400 people. And right now, a little of what's going down is there with the people not wanting as much paper and there's not much demand. They've been cutting a lot of jobs. They've also been tasked with cleaning up because there was a question about, here you go, you can see the paper mill itself. There was a question on whether it was polluting the soil and some of the water from the manufacturing activities when they were putting it back into the Columbia. So they talk a little bit about here. This is the Downtown Camas Association website and goes a little bit into detail of cleaning up the Camas paper mill, a little bit about the site, and eventually kind of what their projected timeline is for cleanup. So right now we are right here. They're doing the ecology and Georgia Pacific develop cleanup action plan. And then in 2024, they're supposed to start cleaning up. They also are like removing, from what I've heard, bits and pieces of it to maybe do a little bit more of a waterfront for downtown Camas, but that is yet to be seen. Anyways, back to downtown. So let's zoom in a little bit further here. So obviously this little yellow area is the downtown, and it is super adorable, like walkable streets, great parking. Some of my favorite places in downtown are the Grains of Wrath Brewery and Restaurant. They have a great beer and they have really good food. Um, Also, let's see here, Feast 3 at 316. It's a steakhouse. They've got some really wonderful food and seating, and it just got a really great vibe. And then what else? There's a sushi joint. Oh my gosh, got to zoom in a little bit further. The sushi joint's right here, but it's not pulling up right now. And then there's Squeeze and Grind, which is one of my favorite coffee shops. It's up over here off of Cedar Street. And then there's just tons of boutiques and like the Camas Boutique Hotel, but there's also like clothing boutiques and shops and different cafes. One of the really popular area is the Liberty Theater. And the Liberty Theater has basically they show kind of second showings of videos. So it's not like the newest of the new, but it is a super cool old theater. They've got all sorts of concessions and somewhat comfy seats, but it's really nice to have that in downtown. You can just go, grab a dinner, catch a flick. Very popular. So now that we've talked a little bit about what is in downtown itself, let's zoom out a little bit further and talk about some of the activities there are in Camas. So when you get out of downtown, so you'd come in this way from Northwest 6th Ave, you come around and you kind of head out this way on 3rd. Well, you see these little green lines right here? Well, that is the Lacamas Creek Park parking area. So there's a little parking lot right here at the corner, and all these green trails right here. Zoom out a little bit. There's tons of green trails. You can hike throughout here. There's multiple falls, Lower Falls, Woodburn Falls, Pothole Falls. The trails will take you all the way up and around Round Lake and up to the Lacamas Park, and as well as taking you to Lacamas Lake and Heritage Park. Also on this corner is Fallen Leaf Lake Park. Very great, tons of outdoor activities. These hiking trails are amazing. So that's one entrance to the hiking trails. Also, you can hike or you can park right here next to Lacamas Park, or you can go down 35th here. There's a couple parking lots right here, or there's a very large parking lot at Heritage Park. Fallen Leaf Lake is a little bit more difficult to get to. If you're not paying attention, you're going to drive down Everett Street either direction, and then all of a sudden there's going to be this little itty bitty road, and it's like in between two houses, and it's not really marked super duper well ahead of time. You kind of just got to know it's there. And there's a little sign that says out front that says Fallen Leaf Lake Park. But people love this area. In the summers, you're going to see a lot of people boating on Lacamas and fishing and, so doing the stand-up paddle boards, kayaking. People also fish from the sides of the lake. So it's a really popular place. One thing that does happen though from time to time, and honestly just about every summer for a while, they end up closing Lacamas Lake because of the blue-green algae that blooms, and it's very toxic to both humans and animals. And so they just want to protect people, and they'll put signs out at the park and say, hey, now's not a good time to be going in there. But it's only for a little bit every summer, and it's depends on time and temperature and water temperature. So here are some of the hiking trails that are around Lacamas Lake and Round Lake. As you can see, I love using all trails. It has tons of good information. You can see pictures. If you want, like this one, there's 4,287 photos. You can zoom in and kind of see what's going on. I use it a ton when I'm out hiking here in the Pacific Northwest, especially if I'm looking for certain features that I like hiking to. I like hiking to lakes, as well as I really enjoy hiking to see waterfalls, or maybe I want to hike to the peak of a mountain and get a good view and return. So just a few of those. But as we move along here in Camas, Lake Road is a very popular road. There's a lot of homes off this area, and there's a lot of homes along Lacamas Lake right here. But we're going to follow Lake Road down and come down and around. There's doing a lot of building still right here around the Camas Meadows Golf Course. Camas Meadows Golf Course, very great country club. They have a delicious restaurant called the Hickory in there, and the Hickory Club has a wonderful back patio that you can sit on and like look over the golf course and just enjoy a meal or a drink or whatever, just relaxing maybe after you shoot 18 or even 9 holes. Here is some information about the Hickory Restaurant and Bar at the Camas Meadows Golf Course. So they've got great food, and yes, it does look like this. You know, they have basically, you can go for any occasion. Here is some of the indoor spots. You can sit on tables and booths. There's also outdoor and a patio. And, you know, just kick back, have a drink, and enjoy it. There's also a driving range, which is on this side of the road, a little bit separate from the actual country club. But it is a great place to spend an evening. As we zoom out and move around a little bit farther, the road goes up and it goes over here to Goodwin Road. And as you go over here, you feel like you're going out of town, and you're not. This right here, this area is Green Mountain. There's a bunch of hiking trails right up in this area that you can't really zoom in and see. But if you zoom in here, you're gonna see what looks like a golf course. It is not any longer a golf course. It was purchased and has now been developed. There are a couple thousand homes in this area, and they're continuing to build. So they have started in the phase right here on this corner. All this is already here. They're also working on the phase right here. So eventually this whole area will be homes, and then they're starting to build over here as well. So they've kind of boxed in this whole little corner because Green Mountain basically kind of etches around like here. So this is all very uphill and mountainous. So they probably won't be building up here, but they're kind of building, nudging up against Green Mountain. And now that we're talking about new builds and new build areas, yes, this is a very popular area for new build. Looks like it's out of town, but it really isn't. They're doing a lot of building there. The other place that they're doing building right now, and this is just very much brand new. They're still even putting the roads in. Last time I was down there, they didn't even have the curbs in, but it is down here just on the northeast side of Lacamas Lake. So if you take Everett and then Ledbetter Road wraps around the north side of the Lacamas Lake, well, right about here, they have started to dig in and put a road up, and they're starting to level out and put spaces for homes in this area. So this is probably in the next 2 to 3 years going to be a very large building spot. There's going to be a bunch of view homes in this area because it is, when you're on the north side of this lake, it is very hilly. Let's see here, let me zoom out. The other place that they're doing a lot of building as well is back by this trailhead. So if you go up the road right here, past the trailhead, it zooms up and around, and is this area on Crown Road. They're doing a lot of building in here, not so much on this side, but definitely on this side. As you go up, they're going to start filling in this whole area. And yes, some of this is considered Washougal, but also you are very close to the Camas High School. So these houses, even though they are going to be considered, I believe, the city of Washougal, they are going to be zoned, at least in the beginning, to go to the Camas High School, because the Washougal High School is all the way on the east side of town. And then I think those were 2 of the larger, actually 3 of the larger building areas. We also talked about how they're still building out behind the Camas Meadows Golf Course. Also, they are working on some of the areas in Green Valley, and that would be more or less this area as well. And this area, there's a really flat area in here. As we move along, let's talk a little bit about the schools here in Camas. They are very, very highly sought after. And if you use websites like Niche or Great Schools, they've got ratings. You know, most of the schools are rated 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, or the district, Camas district as a whole on Niche has a rating of about, I would say, an A. So as we go through, you can see some of that. But Camas itself has 3 high schools, it's got 3 middle schools, and it has 6 elementary schools. It also has an online academy called Camas Connect, and that's where kids can do online schooling for elementary, middle, and high school if they don't wish to attend a actual physical school. But one thing to note that some of the city of Camas, the students, depending upon if you're living over in some of these areas here closer to Fisher's Landing on the edge, your kids might end up going to either Union High School out of Vancouver or Mountain View. It just depends. There's a couple different neighborhoods that might be a Camas address, but might end up going to a different high school. So just note that and make sure that you check with an agent if that is something you are trying to make sure is that you're actually in the Camas School District. All right, as we continue on our tour of Camas, let's zoom in a little bit. So Camas is mostly a bedroom community. And what a bedroom community is it's mostly homes. There's some shops and some cafes here and there, but there's not any really large retail establishments located within Camas. There's a few, but as you get over here towards 192nd Avenue, you're actually approaching Vancouver. So a lot of the people that live in Camas are actually coming over to 192nd and 164th to do their shopping. As you can see, there is a Costco right here. There's a Walmart and a Home Depot and a Lowe's right here. And then some others you're going to find, there's a natural grocer down here. And then personally, one of the best tap houses and restaurants I've been to in a while is located in the Costco, basically parking lot. It's the Pacific House Union Station. I went there for a happy hour the other day with some other realtors, and it was phenomenal. The food was amazing, the beer was great, and the service was impeccable. So I would highly recommend this place if you're in the area. As you can see, there's other small stores that you might be looking for, such as PetSmart. There's a few drive-throughs and different small chain restaurants in this area. Otherwise, a lot of people will go down Mill Plain Boulevard here, and there will find some more shopping. Obviously, your nearest Target is located over here in Vancouver off of Mill Plain and 164th, but there's a Michael's and a Kohl's and a Ross, and I think there's a World Market in here and a few other shops. So if you're looking to do some of that shopping, or if you're looking for a bunch of different restaurants, there's also a lot, absolutely a ton to choose from down 164th. As we move down, you're going to see we have another Fred Meyer right here, since the only grocery store in Camas would be the Safeway in downtown, but there's also a New Seasons over here if you like and are looking for more natural foods. It's kind of along the lines of a natural grocer, and just lots of great restaurants and whatnot. This pizza place is Authentic Italian Wood Fire. Went there, the gentleman that owns it and runs it went to Italy and studied how to do authentic Italian pizza, and it is amazing. Not in Camas, but very, very close. So I just wanted to make some of that as information for you. Now, the last thing I really want to talk about today is some of the areas and neighborhoods around Camas. And one of the most popular neighborhoods is Prune Hill. So Camas itself, geography-wise, is very hilly and very up and down. And there is a large hill located right here. This is where Prune Hill is. And there's four ways to access Prune Hill, 3 from downtown. And the other weekend, it was super snowy, and 2 of them were closed. So you can take 18th here and go up Fargo and around to get to the top of Prune Hill. You can also go up Forest Home Road, which is right there. Or if you're feeling fancy, you might be able to go up the Canyon Road. So there's just those 3 ways to get up from downtown, up the hill, and into Prune Hill. When you're looking at Prune Hill as a whole, Dorothy Fox Elementary is located on the top, and this is a very flat area. So the homes up here are at the top of the hill. They might not have the most amazing views. I did show a house recently off the cul-de-sac here, and it was north-south facing. The north facing could see some of the mountains over that direction, the northeast direction. And then if you looked out one of the other windows, you could actually see Mount Hood in Oregon. And then but it doesn't have those wide sweeping views that you're going to get in some of the other homes. But keep in mind, this whole area right here is one large hill. So each one of these streets, depending upon which street you're on and which direction the home is facing, you could have a very, very beautiful view of either the area and the mountains behind Camas Lake, or if you're on this side of the hill, you're going to be staring down at the Columbia River and the state of Oregon. So a little bit more about Prune Hill in the area as a whole. So we've discussed that it's in this area, in this little area right here where Dorothy Fox is kind of the top of the hill. Some of the information or some of the areas that we talk about in this location, there's a bunch of different neighborhoods, but a lot of the homes in these areas were built in the 90s and the early 2000s. We've got some newer build, some a little bit older build, depending upon where you're located. But some of the neighborhoods that you might enjoy are Summit at Columbia Vista. This neighborhood was built in 2013 to 2016 by Cascade West. And Cascade West is a great custom builder here locally. The neighborhood itself is partially gated, lots of good views, and you're going to see houses with double decks so that you can take in the views over Grass Valley. So that's kind of this area going that way. And next up is Deer Creek. It is the largest neighborhood on Prune Hill and probably one of the oldest. It's got hundreds of homes in it and people love it. Another great neighborhood on Prune Hill is Columbia Summit Estates. This is where there's some very high-end builds. They were built in the 90s. There's large sweeping views of the Columbia River, and they are just absolutely beautiful. Next up is Bell's Place. A few years ago, this was done by Palish Homes. It's a neighborhood and it has neighborhood amenities like a swimming pool. It's one of two neighborhoods in Camas that actually has a neighborhood swimming pool. Also, the HOA there handles mowing of the front yards and maintenance of the front yards. So it's just a lovely, more modern, newer community in the area. And next up is Summit Oaks. It was built in the early 2000s, and it is honestly a really great neighborhood, and it is right in the middle of Prune Hill. People love living there, along with the other neighborhood of Summit Terrace. It is built, that one was built by Cascade West and just finished. Tons of modern homes. Though unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon which way you are, they do have a lot smaller lots, large house, small lots. So you're going to feel potentially kind of cramped by your neighbors, but maybe you don't want a lot of yard maintenance and you want a big house. Summit Terrace might be the right place for you. Next up is Lake Ridge. A lot of the Lake Ridge homes were built between 2007 and 2009, and they were built they're just luxurious homes. They're right down this road here, and in this area, they're towards the bottom of Prune Hill. And I will tell you from experience, this road right here, which is Lacamas, it turns into a Lacamas Lane, if you get snow or ice, will be closed because it is very much straight down. They just do not want cars sliding over this way, or, probably can't even get up the hill in the winter. But we don't get a lot of snow in Camas, so that's a good thing. And then last up is Holly Hills, and Holly Hills was built in, roughly around the 2000s. Pretty standard homes and finishes for that area. You can get large or smaller homes, just depending upon what you're looking for. So that's a little bit of a tour of Camas. I hope that you have found that informational. If you've got any more questions about Lacamas Lake or the hiking trails or other things to do in the area, please let me know. I would love to help you out. Otherwise, Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate your time and have a wonderful day. Bye.